Hello, my sisters. It's time to rise from the depths with Naga Mercenaries. This team is going to be centered around Fathom-Lord Karathress. The idea behind this build is basically swarm the board with a bunch of Nagas early on, where your opponent is most likely going to be focusing down Cho, so then you can easily replace Cho with Fathom-Lord in order to buff them all up, and then just finish off whatever mercenaries your opponent actually has access to. For the mercenary by mercenary breakdown, the first one is going to be Tidemistress Athissa. And for her equipment, we're going to be using Lorewalker Karathress, and then mainly swapping between Wave Crash and Riptide, though if she does survive long enough, Capture Tides can come up. Slitherspear is the next mercenary on the team. We're using Sharpened Idea as his equipment. So if we're facing another minion-based build, we can use enough with this trash in order to wipe out our opponent's board, and then mainly going to be using Slithering Rage as his ability. Cho is the third mercenary on the team. We're going to be using Stash of Scrolls to reduce the damage our minions are going to be taking, and also mainly using Patience. Fathom-Lord is the fourth mercenary on the team. We're going to be using Tidewalker's Brooch as his equipment in order to buff up all of our summons and all of our attack-based Nagas, mainly going to be swapping between Tidal Strike and Blessing of the Tides. N'Zoth is the fifth mercenary on the team, using Eternal Torment as his equipment, mainly going to be using Spawn of N'Zoth as his ability. However, Corrupted Viscera can come up if you do have a lot of minions up on the board, and you can easily wipe out your opponent's board. And finally, we have Medivh in order to increase the survivability of both Cho and N'Zoth, using Staff of the Tesh as his equipment. Now, with that all being said, let's look at some games. Alright, even split, if I remember right. This person usually plays Arcane, so I swapped out the starting up lineup here, just to try to be a little bit more consistent. Okay, so it is actually Arcane. Good to know. How do we want to do this? I kind of want to get rid of the hand, but we could also just steal it and screw with our opponent that way. That was a big misplay, okay? Look, we shouldn't have done it in that order. Whoops. Sometimes, you make a little mistake and you're like, oh, well, you can't do much about it. We're going after Khadgar, I think, here. Next. Because Khadgar can get out of control really, really quickly, and we should be able to get rid of him quickly, too. They're going after Cho, which is fine. We don't really care too much about it. We're focusing on getting the attack gain on the immune spawn, which is always nice. And then we're going to slam down Tidemistress just because we can. And also is an attack-based mercenary while we have a Khadgar on the board, because that is not always a good combination. That's why I'm using Do You Lift Bro just in case. Hopefully we can get another spawn. Maybe they'll do some AoE here and get rid of one of our lesser... Oh, never mind. Blink Fox is what we're going to get rid of next, I think. The reason I say Blink Fox is because they have Mana Blink. Mana Blink can get really, really tricky to deal with eventually. I just really don't feel like dealing with it. They're probably going to put down Ysera next, I'm assuming. Yes, they are. Do we want to use enough with this trash on one of the Nagas? Not Nagas, the spawns. I kind of do. Well, I guess we can go after Ysera first. Because enough with this trash should get rid of Blink Fox, which is great. They do manage to AoE all of our other minions down, so that is a little bit bad. Alright, we do have Fathom-Lord next if we really need to. Actually, that's probably the best option here. Okay, so it is Tyrande. Blessing of the Tides is something I really, really want to do. The problem is I don't know if our mercenaries are going to survive, or at least Slitherspear survive long enough for this to actually matter. And we only really have one summon. I'm hoping they don't have any type of AoE. Getting rid of Tyrande next is probably safe too. Yeah, let's get rid of Tyrande next, or try to at least. Or we could go after Ysera. If we go out, I don't know. It's always complicated when you get into this late game where there's like 2 or 3 mercenaries that you really, really want to get rid of. But I think we're going to be closer of getting Sarah gone. Oh, they're actually focusing down Fathom-Lord. Huh. I mean, technically not a bad decision. I wish we had used the... Well, that would have been a lot better if we had used the 6-speed ability. So, the 2 mercenaries they should have on... Or the last mercenary should be Bane, I think? It's Bane. Alright. Bane is the bane of my existence. Let's go after Tyrande. We get rid of Tyrande, then they only have 1 AoE. We also probably should just AoE their board. Right, with N'Zoth's ability. But hopefully this gets them low enough where we can just... Okay, 1 HP on Fathom-Lord. I mean, it reset the clock on something that was already reset, so that's fine. Also probably should use Cataclysm Bolt here on Fathom-Lord just to keep him alive, but oh well. It is what it is. But we should be able to win a next turn because we just nuke the board. Or not, because everything got reset. I guess we just attack and call it GG. Okay, even split. Let's see what they have in store for us today. A lot of names that I'm not actually that familiar with, which is actually a shock at this point. I would have expected the mercenary pool of players to dwindle each week, but it seems like sometimes I get lucky with how much variety I do see. Oh, okay, so we're going to have a Lich King Arfus build here. That's interesting. Well, I mean, enough with this trash is actually pretty good here, because we can just instantly blow up the freezing elemental and we don't have to worry about that becoming a problem. Yeah, we probably should use enough for this trash. We could also just attack into Arfus. I don't know. I know not this turn, because the first turn it doesn't attack into everything. But the second turn we're probably going to want to use Tidemistress's second ability instead of her first. The reason behind that is, like, we'll be able to nuke anything out of existence. It doesn't really matter what it is, because Arfus is just going to attack into everything. But I don't actually know if I catch it. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah, use Riptide on Belinda just to get her off the board. We don't want them to scale up their damage. I'm assuming this is going to be Frost from the backboard. So they're probably going to have something like, what, Jaina, Varden, and Lorewalker as last 3 mercenaries, which actually is kind of predictable, which isn't a bad thing. I do kind of wish these mercenaries were a little bit better. There's the Frostbite going into the Arfus, and then they're going to attack everything, and then gets rid of 2 mercenaries. The only downside here is we're always going to be slower at this point. And when I say slower, I mean really, really slow. Which could become a problem. Use patience. I really want to get rid of Lorewalker. Ironically enough, because we're so slow, this actually helps a lot. Because we're not going to take any bonus damage from Lorewalker. Varden is also scaling up through... Or not scaling up their damage, so that's also good. Might have been a mistake to leave the Lich King alive, just because it does give them some type of healing, but should still be fine. Okay, they did freeze everything. We can use Fathom-Lord here, buff everything up. Hopefully something survives, and then we can blow up everything too. And Captive Tides actually is something that shockingly scales really, really quickly. It's just not something that you use in 90% of the games. But yeah, still going after Lorewalker first. The attack on these mercs is just so insane. Yes, N'Zoth is the next one. I know Lich King won't die instantly because of Nazot's AoE damage. But we should, if we do win the speed tie, come on, just win the speed tie once. I don't ask this much, or at least often, but it would be really, really nice if we won the speed tie, please. Come on. I just want Localar off the board before I have to worry about him. And they took forever, just... They knew what they were doing. It's 3 decisions. It's not hard. But I'm pretty sure we just win here. Because we have 4 Mercs to their 2. Sure, our Mercs are at low HP, but we should be fine, and bye-bye. Okay, mainly fighters. Let's see what they have in store for us. Oh, holy shit. Man, that's a blast from the past. I remember when everyone was doing this combination for the first 3 Mercs. Or was that just me? Okay, so we're going to focus down Trigore. The nice thing is, because we have Tidemistress, we have the perfect counter for her, or him, I guess. And hopefully Trigore can go bye-bye on turn 1. Is a most... Yep, I was going to say, they're probably going to just do the 3/6/6, which does, what, 30 damage to Trigore for free? Which is so good. Though, you know, might have been actually a come on, hit the Trigore. Come on. Oh, of course it doesn't. Been nice. Oh, hey! They had to attack with Diablo, so it didn't even matter. Alright, so we're probably going to use Riptide on Diablo here. Because they're probably going to attack again with 3 summons. They may or may not attack with Cairn here too. Man, it's been a while since I've seen this combination. Good times. It reminds me of much better times for the game mode. They definitely are one-minded in what they're doing. I mean, everyone that dies does 20 damage to them and then they heal for 10. Which means they end up, what? Losing 10 each time? Individual hit? They also didn't slow us down, which is good. The sad thing is they do have that taunt, so that's going to be annoying as hell to deal with. We could use enough with this trash to try to get through, but I think we're just going to try to get rid of Karen and hope we win the speed tie. Come on. When will you learn? That's just going to get your Merc gone. Oh no. That backfired on them pretty hard. Alright, so the last 2 Mercs are probably Sinestra, I'd assume, and Sylvanas. I really do hope we can get rid of Sylvanas before she can actually attack boost. But at the same time, I think we're in a position where it doesn't actually matter too much if they do get the attack boost off, because we should be able to get rid of the remaining, like, 2 mercenaries. I know Zakis is going to start becoming a problem really, really quickly. And boy, that captive tide is massive. Let's try to get rid of Sylvanas. Well, hey, they got... Well, actually... yeah, I guess they did get smart. I was going to say, they did... It is kind of smart that they decided to do that there. Well, say goodbye to our board. But they have 1.5 Mercs left, and we have 3. Now, we should have the speed to beat Kazakis, because I think Clawing Shadows is a 6 speed ability. So as long as we arcane rift Kazakis, it should be good, because he'll be taking, what, 8 damage for free at the start, and then we just finish off Sinestra. Oh, sorry, 4 damage, because, yeah, didn't matter. I did the math right. Man, I remember simpler times because of this build. This just sent me on a huge nostalgia binge. Holy shit. Just get rid of good old Sinestra. We should have enough damage here, I hope. Maybe we should have blown up our minions because they're going to go bye-bye, but This should still be fine. Yeah, got it. Alright, even split. I wonder if they're from Washington with that name. I'm pretty sure there's probably other Rainiers than Mount Rainier, but that's what I instantly think of when I see the name Rainier. Ooh, okay, so Frost might be bad depending on if we win or lose the speed tie. I'm also not attacking with Warlord just because I don't want to increase their damage by any more. If preferably, I would love to just... Varden really does not like Warlord, I guess. So, we'll use Patience, Wave Crash, that should increase the damage even further. And we should be able to put an additional body on board, which is always great. I'm assuming the bench is probably going to be, what? Cairn, Sinestra, Diablo? Because this does look like an older version of Frost. There we go, there's local war. And that's basically half the battle right there. And Cho will probably be gone next turn, but that's perfect because we have all these beautiful little Nagas who can be buffed up by our good old friend Fathom-Lord. Too many lords in this team. We got Lord Slitherspear, we got Warlord Parvesh, and we also have Fathom-Lord Karathress. Probably butchering that name, but I think that's what you call him. Let's focus down Cairn. That's interesting that they don't have the resurrection equipment on him, but okay, it is what it is. What are the last two mercs? One has to be Sinestra, right? And I'm assuming the other one is Diablo. Hey, I was right. So, how do we want to do this? Let's use Captive Tides. Oh, that's up to almost 50 damage. Can you imagine if we had our last Naga Merc out instead of Show? Man, oh man, that would have been absolutely insane. And then we buff up everything. Get a pretty high attack pool here. Hey! Okay, now all we have to deal with Sinestra, a really low Jaina, and I guess the Varden. Let's go after Sinestra first, and then we can go after Jaina. I'm not too worried about not having something live here. That, and voila, we win. All right. Oh, nature. That's interesting. All right. Brucon is usually the best bet here. We don't really have that many casters that we're really worried about keeping alive for a long time. Holy shit, they're not actually going after Joe first. Oh, maybe we should have worried about Lady Anaconda first, if that's the case. They get a minion, and then we can just AoE their entire board for free. And don't mind if I do. Do we want to try to snipe Brucon just in case? I kind of do. I know this is a little bit of a waste and probably not absolutely necessary, but I think we should probably get rid of Brucon as quickly as possible here. Here is what's on the bench. I'm assuming something like Malfurion, Bane, and Tyrande. With those colors, I should say. That makes the most sense to me. I am still shocked they went after Slitherspear first. Holy shit. That is not where I'd expect it. Okay, it is Malfurion. I guess we go after Malfurion next, because he is actually a problem. The remaining mercenaries here aren't really that big of a problem, but getting rid of Malfurion because it is speed increase and healing. Man, I kind of regret not doing anything with Malfurion one last time. I had a team that I thought about doing, and I scrapped it a few times, and then I remember I didn't do anything with Fathom-Lord. So I was like, well, I guess we're doing something with Fathom-Lord this week. And because there's balancing changes in the works, Yeah, I needed this video out before anything else. Yeah, let's buff everything up. That sounds better. Then just hope one of the attacks hit. That's all we need. And leaving show up was a huge mistake on their behalf. We're gonna walk right over them. Bye to the majority of the board. Okay, now what are the last two mercs? That is the $1,000 question, or $100 question, depending on how you want to view it. Oh! Oh! Okay, that is not something I'd expect. I mean, it is synergistic, don't get me wrong, it's just... Boy, whoa. This should clear out the majority of the board, if not the entire thing. Because we buff everything up, they attack into it for free, and then we attack here, they attack into our stuff for free, and all we have to deal with is this Mukla. Oh, never mind, they are going to get rid of themselves. Goodbye. Alright, now that we're through the games, let's discuss my final thoughts of this build. I'm actually kind of shocked I never tried something like this out before. It definitely isn't the strongest Chode build that I've ever done, but it's been quite a while since I've done anything with Cho. Shockingly enough, Fathom-Lord is actually a pretty decent mercenary in this team. I just really wished his Blessing of the Tides would only have a cooldown of 2 instead of 3, which would make this team a lot better. There are definitely some matchups that you're just probably not going to be able to win, but there are still ways to sneak a win out of most matchups, which makes this team not a bad one to try out if you're looking for something to do with Nagas. But like always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.